Hello and welcome to my latest episode of my creative podcast. My name on Instagram is Orchids Hearts and I'm coming to you from Birmingham in England. So this episode is a bit different. I thought I would share my favourite summer sewing patterns. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and these are ones that I've made multiple times and that I actually wear a lot. So this isn't all the summer clothes I've made. These are just a few of my favourite, most worn things. And I will warn you that I think it's pretty much all, apart from one thing, made from fabric from Merchant and Mills. So I will start by saying that I do really like Merchant and Mills' fabrics. They are quite an investment. They did go up in price over the last couple of years. It used to be within my budget and affordable. When I say affordable, I was looking at about, I think for the Tencel twills, £15 a metre. The gingham linen was about £25 a metre, and the plain linens, 18. So obviously more expensive for a fabric, but for fabrics I really, really adored and loved using, for me it was worth it. I probably wouldn't stop a project I'd never made. No, backtrack on that. I was going to say I probably wouldn't stop something I've never tried before, like a new pattern in a Merchant and Mills fabric for the first time, but I think I have. I just really adore the quality of their fabrics. I've also, over the last, I guess, 10 or so years, discovered that I really love linen, especially. Linen has such a personality, such a nice feel. It's easy to sew. It's not slippery. It's easy to cut out. For me, it's easy to maintain. I don't mind if my clothes look a bit creased. I am a little bit of a scruffy person, if I'm totally honest. I have a bit of a rustic lifestyle, shall we say. So the rustic look of linen is not a problem for me. I don't need to be office smart for my job. So those clothes also suit me for my work. Quite fortunate in that respect. So yeah, I also do really like Tencel twill, but my understanding is it's not as environmentally friendly. Merchant Mills don't sell it as much as they used to, which is a shame because I adored it. So I'm not sure anything here in this pile is made from Tencel or a Tencel combo, but I do really like how floaty it is and how it's got nice drape for, nicer summer clothes. And I occasionally work with cotton, but not very often. I do have a pair of linen cotton blend trousers in this pile, and I think the cotton just gives it a bit more structure and a little bit less wrinkled look. But yeah, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to share today two top patterns, a short pattern, which is also a trouser pattern, but I've only made the shorts, a trouser pattern and a skirt. I am wearing something else that I have made, which would probably be a good summer item, but I actually rarely wear them, so I'm not really going to talk about it very much. And it's the culottes I'm wearing. You probably can't see them, but the Winslow culottes is an absolutely beautiful pattern. It just hasn't worked out well for my lifestyle. I thought I would wear the shorts quite often, but I think maybe the colour I chose, which if I stand up you'll be able to see. Although I absolutely adore the colour, and so these are made from a Tencel linen mix. Although I absolutely adore the colour, they don't look right, I don't think, with leggings or tights, and so I can only wear them when it's really warm, and I just don't think they particularly suit my skin tone, if I'm honest. And I keep feeling like a brownie when I wear them. Brownies is a group that you attend as a child to do activities at a certain age in the UK. I don't know if it's anywhere else, like Girl Scouts, but younger. Anyway, the Winslow culottes, I'll put on screen who the pattern's by. That's something I'm wearing here. And I think I did an elastic back hack for them. But anyway, that isn't one of my patterns. So yeah, in case I haven't really made this very clear, this is a roundup of my favourite summer patterns that I really enjoy wearing, making, And I'll try and discuss any alterations I've made as I go. The first one I'm going to share is my absolute most worn garment, I think, at all, is this Ashton top. So the pattern is Ashton top by Helen's Closet, I believe. It'll be on screen if it's different. And this is a modified one because the original pattern looks more like this. So if you can see, it's got quite a nice A-line shape. I think it comes with a sleeve option, but I've only ever made sleeveless. So it's kind of like this A-line tank. I'll come back to those ones in a minute. But this version is heavily cropped. It's got like a really deep hem here, which is twice folded. And I've made this from, it was a linen I actually bought to back my quilts with. So the first few times I wore it, this is the only linen that isn't matched in the house. It was really rough and kind of uncomfortable. But over the years of wearing it, it has softened up and now it's totally fine. And I really like this pattern because I find it quite easy to make it also without using a overlocker or serger. So I'll turn it inside out and show you my insides. So quite a lot of sewing patterns suggest that you do like neck facings or arm facings, etc., etc. I never do that. I always use bias binding. So I also hate making bias binding, so I quite like looking out for nice bias bindings and I collect them, buy them en masse. So a lot of the bias binding I use is actually Atelier Brunette. So that's what this one is. And then I think the labels are Kylie and the Machine. So it's possible that I've also changed the neckline, looking at it on this one, because this has got more of a scoop. And yes, I did. I raised it. So I raised it at the front and took a bit out of the back. And I remember when I cut out on when I cut out the paper pattern, I went straight across more or less, doing like a bit of a boat neck. And then because you stitch the shoulders together, and then the sides before you enclose the neck and the arms, I basically kept, I would snip a bit out, see if I could get it on over my head. If I couldn't, snip a bit more out, see if I could get it on over my head, taking a little bit off the front and the back as I went, because I wanted it to be really high. It is a bit tricky to get on and off, like you kind of have to, like a Barbie doll, do it. But I really like the way it looks, and I will stick a photo on screen of me wearing it because I'm sure I've got one. And yeah, so I've French seamed the shoulders and the sides after doing the bust darts, hemmed it with my really deep hem, and just used bias binding on the necks and the arms. So quite a quick make, and I've actually made quite a few of these. So I probably started out by making these two. So this is a pink check linen from Merchant & Mills. This was an offcut that was in their remnants bin, so it was cheaper. I think it even had a pull in it somewhere that they marked it down for even more, and I just managed to cut around it. And it's got like this blue cotton bias tape, and it's got a bigger label because I have a lino cut stamp that I commissioned someone to make me, and I used to print my own labels that have Orchid's Heart written in them. It says handmade by Orchid's Heart. I don't use it so much anymore, to be honest. And then this one is again Merchant Mills linen, again with the blue linen or cotton bias binding. When I do use plain bias binding, I never use the polycotton ones. I cannot stand the polycotton ones. And I also think if I'm going to go to the effort of making my clothes from linen, then I want it to be a linen or cotton bias binding. And so this one's like a really cheery yellow and blue check with another one of those Kylie and the Machine labels. Now, I don't wear these two very often, and I've only brought it into this video to show you what the original pattern looks like with the original neck and the original lengths, in comparison to the one that I do wear a lot. Now, I think the reason why I wear this one a lot is because it's neutral. It goes with a lot of things, and because it's really short, and I wear a lot of high-waisted things, and so that silhouette of the short top I think complements my high-waisted garments more. I also don't wear very many short things on my bottom half. I wear a lot of trousers and a lot of skirts that come past the knee. So for me, it balances out. And with the higher neck, it also balances out the modesty. I mean, I'm not really showing anything because of the high-waisted elastic waists on most of my clothes. There isn't really anything on show, so I don't feel like it's inappropriate or anything like that. So I have been umming and ahhing about just cropping these because I'm pretty sure I cut out the same length in fabric, but I just rolled it up like extra to make a deeper hem. So it really wouldn't be that hard for me to just take it up and do the same thing. And what's stopping me is I can tuck this into high waists. And occasionally I wear them to work, but really not very often. Especially not the pink one, because I don't think, if I'm honest, the colour particularly suits me. It's just that it does go quite well with some of my clothes. I feel like the colour would go quite well with these culottes. But then I think I'd probably wear it more if I cropped it. So I'm seriously considering imminently just cropping them. And being that I wouldn't be cutting any fabric off, I think I probably could just crop it, like lift it up and hem it down. And then if I change my mind, let it out again. I just think you'd probably get a bit of a line where it'd been folded for so long. But you know, I have another one in a blue stripe, which I made from leftovers and making some bob pants, which I'll talk about more in a bit. And I do wear that one quite a lot, just not as much because it doesn't go with so many of my summery bottom halves. Goes better with my jeans, which I don't really wear when it gets really hot. So this one definitely gets worn more, and I think maybe they would get worn with other things if they were shorter. So very possible that that's going to happen. Anyway, that's the Ashton top by Helen's Closet, I'm pretty sure. The only other summer top I'm going to share with you is the Cielo top. So I think this one is cropped by design. It definitely has this contrast shape, although it doesn't necessarily recommend that you do it in a different fabric. It has darts. I'm pretty sure it is a boxy top finish, and it is that short. You'd have to check the pattern to make sure. So I've made two of these, one in a plain bright orange linen, which I do wear a lot. I think it's in the laundry, so I couldn't bring it down to show you. And then this one, which I made from leftover scraps of Merchant & Mills fabrics. So it's a linen and then a cotton seersucker. And so this was meant to be a bit like a rising sun, which I've appliqued on the front and then complemented it by doing the contrast pieces on the shoulders in the same fabric. And so again, I wear this quite a lot with my bob pants in the summer. I've got some purple ones. I used to have a pair of Arenite pants, and I will try and stick a photo of these on the screen. They were in the Oxblood Tencel Twill from Merchant & Mills. I wore them so much that I split them on the butt because the fabric just wore away. And I have patched them, but they're not really appropriate for wearing except for scrapping around with my son. And I really liked the way this top looked with those trousers. So I don't wear it as much as I used to, but I think it's because I don't have the right pair of trousers to wear with it. I do wear it sometimes. It does look very nice with a pair of jeans, and probably would look quite nice with a pair of denim shorts in the right shape. But I wanted to share it because it is one of my favourite summer tops. And when I've got the right bottom halves, I do wear it absolutely tons. And to be honest, I could wear a cropped Ashton top every day of the week in the summer when it gets really hot, with a nice bottom half and maybe an undone linen shirt. That is kind of my uniform when it gets hot. We just went to the seaside for a couple of days, and pretty much all I wore was that top or a t-shirt and these shorts, which are new. So I've only had these about a week, 10 days. They're fresh out the wash, so they look a bit crispy. And they are the Chanterelle shorts by So Liberated. So it's a trouser and short pattern. I made the shorts, and I bought a bolt end of the Meg linen by Merchant & Mills. And it's this green and blue check, like you can barely see, I think, like it's quite clashy. And it was a bit of a nightmare trying to cut out a pair of shorts out of 0.6 of a metre. I just about managed it, but the facings for the pockets are in some scraps of purple linen. I was going to maybe not do the pockets on the back so I'd have enough, but I really feel like the pockets on the back add to the shape and the butt definition, especially when they're an elastic band pair of shorts. I think without the pockets, they start to look like pajamas. Anyway, I was worried that they were going to be really short, and they are. But I think for, at the beach here during a heat wave, it's been 33 degrees. It's been fine. So if I'm honest, the cropped cream top and these is a lot of skin out for me. But we were on the beach and it was 33 degrees, so that kind of felt fine. I would not wear these to work. I am thinking about hacking the pattern and making a pair with a bit of a higher waist and a bit of a longer leg length in some pink and yellow linen I have from Merchant & Mills. But I haven't totally decided if I'm going to do that or not yet. I might just make them like a touch longer, but the same waist. I would maybe like something a slightly more modest. Maybe. I don't know. So yeah, did I French seam these? Yes, these aren't overlocked either. They're fully French seamed, so you can see. I really, really recommend, if you don't know what the French seam is, looking it up. It's really easy. It does take a bit longer, because you essentially end up sewing everything 2 or 3 times. But it just gives a really clean finish with no raw edges. And sometimes I really can't be bothered to get my overlocker out. It's also set up to only overlock in black. I can't bother to change the thread colour. And I think it ruins the look of this gorgeous linen when there's black thread. So I think it might be the first time I've French seamed the crotch on an adult thing, because I thought with a curve it would be hard, but it was actually fine. I have been overlocking the crotch seam on my son's trousers, and I think that's what gave me the courage to do it. So yes, really, really like them, wore them absolutely tons, and will keep wearing them at the weekends, I think, definitely. And I do wonder if it could go quite well with these. And I will say part of the reason why I don't enjoy tucking these into things is because it actually then billows out a bit, and I don't really like that look, whereas it tends to lie flat and be cleaner if it's just cropped. So a relatively new pattern to me, the Chanterelle shorts, but they were easy to make up. I do generally find that these Liberated patterns are on the big side for me. This was true to size. So I initially cut out and did a twirl of a size 2 sizes smaller than the recommended size, because I find with the hinterland dress and things like that, that is what I need to do. In this case, no, I had to do the size it recommended, definitely. And the other thing is I top stitched the side seams, not the under seams, because I thought it would look nicer. We didn't tell you to, but I did it. And I also think there was some kind of strange thing with the waistband where you were going to get a raw edge or an overlocked edge visible, which I didn't like. And I was really surprised by that, because I feel like Liberated patterns generally are really hot on not having untidy edges of fabric showing. So I didn't like that, and so I just did a waistband how you would on, like, normally on an elastic waist. Sew down one side, pre-iron the crease on the middle, and the other seam flip it over and stitch it down. Yeah. So my favourite trouser pattern to wear in the summer are the bob pants. So again, I'll try and stick a photo on screen by Starlark, and these are made in a cotton linen blend by Merchant & Mills. I made these out of 1 metre of fabric, but the pockets, therefore, are made from leftover linen from something else, and the waistband will actually have to be pieced together from a few different pieces of fabric in order to make up the correct length. And it might be slightly narrower than it was meant to be, because again, I was trying to compensate for what fabric scraps I had left. I didn't want to do an plain orange waistband. And they are so soft. So these are a cotton linen blend. and it was an impulse buy because I didn't really think it was me, but I actually wear them a lot. I have 4 pairs of bob pants. I have some dark purple ones, some blue stripe ones, some sort of orangey brown check ones, and these ones. So these feel the most summery. Again, they've got a little label in the back so I can find the back easily. And I also wear them a lot with my cream cropped tank. I think it goes really well. I don't know that it'd go with either of those, so I probably wouldn't. But I also wear them a lot with t-shirts. Yeah, so like a funky printed t-shirt or something like this plain Pointel t-shirt. I've got this in green, brown, and this colour. So I do wear it with this, and I do wear it with the green one. Yeah, so really enjoyed that. Not much to say really. I made the bob pants how the bob pants come. I can show you what I mean by the black overlocking thread. When I've got inseam pockets, I haven't worked out how to French seam a garment that has inseam pockets. So inseam pockets are like these ones, like inside. And so I don't know how to French seam something. I haven't worked that out yet. So these are overlocked, which I like less, but you know, it's a perfectly fine finish. And if you're not familiar with the bob pants, it's like a barrel leg shape, which I find really wearable in the summer with a pair of sandals. And then I think finally, the last pattern I'm going to share is now let me get this right. The Estuary skirt. If it's not, I'll put it on screen, by So Liberated, like 90% sure it is, in this green linen from Merchant Mills. And how did I modify it? I might have modified it by putting belt loops on. Don't quote me on that. Is this the one where I did both types of pockets? No. So one of my Estuary skirts, I think it was my brown winter one, I did the patch pockets and the inseam pockets. So this has got inseam pockets, which you can't really see because of the check. And it's got belt loops on in case I want to wear a belt with it, which, to be honest, I don't. And it's got these mismatched vintage buttons down the front. And it's gorgeously soft. And I wear it tons. And again, it looks really nice with my cream cropped summer top, because it's the same colour as the check. And it's just a really nice full skirt shape. It's not a circle and it's not a rectangle. The panels are shaped, and it just gives it like a really nice drape. So I really enjoyed that. It's a faux button band. Yes, it's not real buttonholes. I think because it was an elasticated waist, I decided I wasn't going to bother, and so it's all stitched down. But I haven't worn this one for a little while. I'm not wearing skirts and dresses as much as I used to, because I'm either on the bike or I'm with my son, and so I find it less user-friendly. I do think maybe I could wear this combo to work if I can manage this skirt on my bike, which I might be able to. Maybe I'm inspiring myself to wear this one to work tomorrow. But yeah, that's kind of my roundup of my favourite summer sewing patterns. Let me know if you've got any favourite summer sewing patterns, ones that you return to over and over again. I think I could wear a cropped Ashton top, skirt or bob pants all summer. Sadly, can't wear that in the winter because I'd freeze to death. Even with a jumper, I would still be cold, definitely. Too much air. But in the heat wave, it was very, very welcome. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm sorry it is Merchant Mills heavy. It's just kind of, I like their colours and I like their fabrics and I like their textures. I'm not sewing to the same frequency as I used to because I don't have the time. And so I do very occasionally treat myself to some of their fabric. And yeah, to be honest, I don't buy clothes really, ever. Occasionally secondhand. So I spend my money on the fabric. Yeah, I think you can think fabric is really expensive. I can benefit from the fact that I obviously do make the smaller sizes. If I think this was 1 metre of fabric, so I think it was £25 a metre. So actually, I already had the pattern. I've made it a few times. They cost me £25 to make, give or take. A bit more if you count in elastic and thread. So that's not that bad. Again, with the Ashton tops, quite often if I just buy, I really like the fabric and I just want to try it, I might buy myself half a metre and I can get one of those tops out of it, especially if it's a cropped one. Those shorts I just about got out of 0.6 metres, which I appreciate if you are making a larger size is not possible. But for mine, I am able to, and I do quite often like patch bits together that are in less visible places and I don't know, stuff like that, so that I can make the most of the fabric I've got and leftovers. But yes, that's all I'm going to say. Bit of a short episode, I hope. Hopefully some nice pictures showing you me wearing them, and let me know what is your favourite make for the summer. If you would like to support the channel in any way, there is a link below for my Ko-Fi and a link to my Instagram and Ravelry. I don't really use Ravelry, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's there if you're interested. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye now because the light is fading, and I will talk to you soon.